Audio Jungle.
Good evening, ma'am. I hope I'm audible. Good
Good
evening, ma'am.
Good
Good
evening.
evening. Good evening, ma'am. So, good evening and good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all for the unique talk show, Beyond Education, Inspiring Stories to Inspire the World, being organized by IDYM Groups. This show is special as it initiates interactions with special people. It invites people from different professions, from different parts of the world. Beyond Education brings to you inspiring stories of visionary educators, authors, entrepreneurs, and leaders who overcame obstacles to create an extraordinary life. It is an excellent platform to learn from experience of the people who have flourished in the midst of adversity due to their dedication and hard work. We are honored to have our esteemed speaker with us. She is a very talented and inspiring educator, Laura Stansioman from Romania. Laura ma'am, she is a teacher at Superior School of Commerce from Romania. She is a translator and author of many books. She is also the coordinator and participant in national and international projects and competitions, participant in e-training and Erasmus programs, speaker and moderator in international conferences and events, SDG Ambassador, Global Educationist Award, Global Changemaker Award 2021, Director IDYM Europe, Deputy Country Director IIU Romania, Bhabat International Publication Brand Ambassador, and Calligraphy Books LLC Brand Ambassador. So, ma'am, this is a short about you, and we'll be discussing more of your achievements. So, let's start with the discussion. And the first question is, why did you choose to be an educator?
Hello, greetings everyone, and thank you, Anju ma'am, for the lovely introduction. And thank you, IDYM, for giving me the opportunity to be here today and to share my story on this global platform. So, why did I choose to become an educator, a teacher? It is a very interesting story, and I think I can say that I did not choose this profession, but this profession chose me in a way. Both my parents were teachers. My mother was a teacher of Romanian, our national language, and my father taught physics, two completely opposite subjects. And both my parents were dedicated teachers, and they spent lots of hours preparing for their work with the students. That is why I would always say, when I was growing up, I would always say to the people who asked me what I wanted to become, that I would never be a teacher, anything but a teacher, because I saw how difficult it was for my parents to prepare everything. I saw the paperwork, the mountains of test papers, and the lesson plans, and it seemed to be the most difficult job in the world. But then something happened which made me change my opinion completely. The University of Bucharest, where I was studying, had methodology courses, and this meant we had to go to certain schools and teach the little children. And this, for me, was a life-changing experience. I saw the curiosity in their eyes. I saw how this job has so many rewards and how we can inspire the young generations, how this job really changes the world. And that made me choose then to become a teacher and made me understand why my parents also chose this profession.
Yes, it is a wonderful profession, ma'am. And it's good to know that you're inspired by your parents and how you learned about, they were curious. So that was again a reason that you were curious about selecting this profession. Ma'am, and as we see, like when we are educators, somewhere as an educator, we need creativity among this. So, what do you think about it? Why should educators need creativity?
Well, probably the simplest answer would be to make the lessons more interesting and more attractive for the students. But I think creativity is something that we really need to have in the teaching process because students need to be engaged in this process. They need to be attracted to the subject that is being taught. We are not just keepers of knowledge that we share with the students. We need to attract them, to make them feel that their role, they are playing an active role in the lesson. And this is what creativity does. It connects the student to the subject which is being taught in an innovative way. When we make our lessons more creative, we really have an impact on our students and they understand the importance of that subject. If we only repeat the things, the information that we know, we will not attract them. We will just give them the things that they can find in books, they can find online. This is just bits of information that they can get anywhere today. But the important thing is how we get students engaged in the learning process. And creativity can manifest itself in many ways during a class. We can organize games, for example, and gamification is a thing that really makes students motivated to learn, makes them feel that learning is not something difficult, but something pleasant, something that they really enjoy doing. When we turn the information that we offer them into something fun, into something engaging, then it really has a more positive impact. So we, as educators, we can use games, we can use different forms of letting the students show their abilities and their knowledge. For example, in my classes, I have certain lessons where I let them choose the way they want to be assessed. Some of them, so they are given a topic and they can choose if they want to write something about it, if they want to say something about it, maybe they want to express their opinions through a drawing, through something more creative like a poem, through a presentation. The options are limitless. They can even have a sort of role play interaction to express the idea of that thing they have to do. So in a few words, yes, creativity is essential. It is what makes the lessons engaging and interesting. And we, in this way, through creativity, we can more easily reach our students. And the information will stay with them a lot longer if we do something out of the ordinary, something more interesting, more creative than just reading a lesson.
Yes, ma'am, it really helps. Being an educator, when we teach the children, And when we develop this creativity and we are able to give our lessons in a creative manner, it helps in engaging the lecture. The children are interested and they are able to grasp it very easily. That is more important, in fact. So this creativity, it is not only important for educators, but it is also like important for students also. So how can you help the students to develop this creativity skills in them?
So, yes, thank you for clarifying. So, the teacher needs to be creative and the student. So, the teacher needs to motivate the student to be creative and to bring out those skills in the student that maybe they don't even know they have. Um, I was involved in a project not long ago, and the students had to make drawings and even write songs on a certain topic. And then I asked one of the students, do you think you could maybe, I knew that he played an instrument, but I never knew he had a nice voice. Could you please do this for the project? Let's see if you can write a song. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. It just has to be something that you can offer. And I was so surprised by the result. And that student was also surprised. He didn't know he had a nice voice until he tried to sing. So, this is what we should do to motivate our students to try, to discover their own creativity. I had students who didn't know they had acting talent until they participated in our theater festival, in our school's theater festival. They didn't know they had talent at drawing or painting until I made them participate in a project related to sustainable development goals where they had to make posters. So, yes, different activities, varied as possible, bring out the creativity in students. And this is how we should stimulate them to try these different abilities. Involve them in as many activities as possible, and not as a difficult activity or something that they are forced to do, but in a fun way. So they can choose the things they know that they can do, and they can try the others. So always try, never give up. This is what we ought to do. We ought to motivate students never to give up and always to keep trying until they find out how far their creativity can go.
Yes, we educators have really a big responsibility to stimulate this creativity among the students, and these are all the different activities. And even these activities, they give us a chance to find out what are the abilities of the students. Without this, we want to be able to find it out. It is really very good. And ma'am, like you are, when I was reading your profile, you're the translator and author of books. So can you just share your experience as an author of some book? What books you have written, and how was your experience?
The first book I wrote was a book of poems, poetry. I started writing poems when I was really young. It was my way of expressing what I saw in the world, a way of expressing my feelings in a creative way. So there, creativity is everywhere around us. And when I was 18 years old, I joined a poetry club, and my first poems were published. Then I started working on more serious things, textbooks, English textbooks for students, and it's not something easy to do. It needs a lot of research, a lot of trial and error to see what exercises would be suitable for a certain age, for a certain level of understanding, for a certain level of English as a foreign language. So it was a long process, but it was totally worth it when friends, for example, tell me that they are learning English using my book. It is a moment of pride and gratitude for me. I am indeed grateful for the opportunity that was given to me, and I'm happy that my books were accepted, because it's a really long process for book teaching English to be accepted as school material. And yes, the Ministry of Education liked the book that I wrote together with one of my colleagues, and they accepted it as teaching material and distributed it in schools. And currently I'm working on another series, and let us hope this will also be successful.
Surely, ma'am, it will be successful because you are working so hard on it. And it's good, in fact, good to know that the book written by you has been accepted by the Ministry of Education. It has been included in the school materials. So that is really very good to know. Congratulations, madam, for that. And we hope
Thank you.
your second also on which you're working, it comes soon and again it gets accepted to school material. But isn't there a problem? I mean, the children nowadays is that they don't like reading books. But reading books is always good. It helps to improve your personality. It helps to improve your knowledge. So, how can we help our students to inculcate this habit of reading books?
Yes, this is really a problem nowadays, and sometimes people consider reading a thing of the past, especially teenagers, because they are so used to gadgets and to see the words printed on paper. And if they are not moving, and if they are not colorful, they are not attractive to them. But to have great readers, we need to start inducing this idea that reading is wonderful at a very young age. When they are little, parents, who are the first teacher that a child has, parents need to read to the children, need to tell them, to show them the importance of the written word, the importance of stories, of reading books, and that books are indeed where we will find most precious knowledge. Then, when children start going to school, teachers also need to tell the children how important it is to read, and they can do this by recommending books to read, but also through certain creative activities. For example, a reading race. The teacher can distribute books around the classroom, and they have to see which ones will finish reading the book in the shortest time, and of course do some activities to prove that they have indeed read the book. And the more they read, the more they will be drawn to reading, the more they will enjoy reading. And this is why we really need to encourage students to read. It's difficult for them to find the time and to break away from all the gadgets, all the technology that is around them, but we really must do that. in order to have um, the generations who will be the adults of tomorrow, who will need to have culture, who will need to have knowledge, and who will need to be the leaders of tomorrow. And they cannot do that without knowledge, of course.
Yeah, wonderful, ma'am. Yes, they are the leaders of tomorrow, and the teachers as well as the parents. And before the teachers, I think the parents have a great impact on them, because the children usually, they copy the parents for the parents. So the teachers, the parents have an important role. They should uh, they should themselves start reading the books, and only then the children will develop that habit. And one more problem that is being observed is the effect of social media. I know social media can be good at times if we use it properly, but somewhere it is again affecting the children, and especially the youth. So, what do you think? What are the effects, and how, as an educator, we can help in reducing those negative effects of social media on children?
Yes, social media was has become well, it's both a blessing and a curse, because um, through social media we can connect with people all over the world. The benefits are endless. We can have events such as these made possible through social media. But on the other hand, young people are attracted to this world, which creates a false image sometimes, and there are also many disadvantages. Social media offers them an escape from real life, and this is good in some cases, because some children are shy, and they find a community in social media where they feel accepted, where they feel they are valued. But it can become a false image, and it can become something that um, in a way takes them prisoners, and many children become addicted to social media. This is one of the threats. They spend too many hours in front of their gadgets, or talking with friends who are only there online, but not present in their real lives. So social media has benefits, and we shouldn't stop using technology if it is in our lives. We live in this century, a century of technology, um, and we shouldn't totally eliminate social media. But we should use it carefully. We should use it wisely, especially when it comes to children. We need to tell them the difference between what they see in social media and the people they talk to on different sites, and real life. And they should never they should make this distinction very clear, and they should never think that life is only about what they see on the screen. They should make friends at school. They should have friends to talk to face, and they should have real connections in their lives, and not just social media. Because if the if the internet stops, life must go on. And of course, there are other threats, such as threats to their health. Uh, Children have been spending more and more time when they are engaged in these online activities. They do it. They cannot do any physical activities, and this creates problems for their body, problems they can become overweight. They have problems with their spine. They have posture problems, problems with their eyesight, or from looking at screens for too long, and many other health problems, and also um, behavior problems. Many children are affected, and they have different disorders due to the time they spend looking at different things online, playing games, or just spending time on social media. Because these things move really quickly, they affect the way they look at reality, and it becomes difficult for their brains to adapt to real life while once they turn off their gadgets. And this is why the time spent with technology should be limited and should be carefully controlled by the parents and teachers.
We need to control carefully. Yes, that's very important.
And how they use it and what they use it for.
Yeah, how they use it, what they use it for, and we have to keep on monitoring what they have been doing, because nowadays again the cyber crimes are increasing, and then the health is getting affected. Not only their eyes, but they are getting so many problems like they are not able to sleep, because they are actually developing that habit, because they are in the habit of just surfing the social media for a long time. They are not able to sleep, and when they are not able to sleep, again there are a lot of health problems that are coming up. And
Yeah,
there are
these images, these colorful images, they feed the brain. They are like something sweet that we eat. It's a reward for the brain, and the social media sites know that, and that is why we have all these things. That's why when we look on certain sites, we are only given the things that we like to attract us even more. It's not a coincidence. It's not um, just by chance. No, it's a very carefully planned thing, and that is why we need to limit the time, because we can easily become addicted. And for children are the ones, teenagers are the ones who will be most affected by these things. So these colorful, very vivid things, they feed the brain, and it is very, very difficult. It is almost like a drug. It's very difficult to give up. And when we look around, the things around us are mostly static, and they aren't as colorful as what we see in the media. So for the students who spend too much time online, it's difficult. They always look for their phones, they always look for their gadgets to get that sensation again of it's a thing that the brain tells them to do. They don't realize when they become addicted.
they don't realize is that's it. And yes, others somewhere this addiction to the gadgets or addiction to the internet and the social media. This isn't there? I feel this is again after the pandemic that has happened, and then after the pandemic, well, during the pandemic, we educators had some different rules. We had to change our method of teaching and the method of interacting with the students. But again, after the pandemic, when all the offline classes have started, again our roles have somewhere they are affected, and somewhere there are changes in it. So, what kind of changes in the role of an educator has been brought after the pandemic, and how were your role changing? How did your role change after the pandemic?
Yes, the pandemic was a big shock for everyone. We had never thought that we could live through something like this. And it was all very sudden. We had to adapt from one day to the next. We didn't know what to do. Um, Classes were closed, schools were closed. How can we reach our students? How can we give them the knowledge that we should give them in a safe way? We started online classes, of course, and we needed to totally change our way of teaching. We switched from the board to online presentations. We had to um, switch from talking to them to talking to the students, and it's very important for a teacher to look in the eyes of a student and see if they understand what is being explained or not. During online teaching, we couldn't do that. um, some students were shy, they didn't open their cameras. We couldn't find the same way of communicating as before, so we needed to adapt, and we needed to use all our creativity to make the lessons interesting and to keep them in front of their laptops for the duration of the classes. We had to, yes, we needed to change our roles because on a normal school day, we just thought about the subject, the theme of the lesson, and how to present it in an interesting way, and that was it. But during the pandemic, we also had to be a lot more open-minded and to listen to the students and to try to understand what they were going through. Um, so then that period went beyond teaching. We really needed to be psychologists in a way. We needed to look into their hearts and try to motivate them, try to encourage them, try to, and not only related to the subject, but related to the whole situations, the whole situation that they were facing. Some of them had parents who were sick during the pandemic, or they were sick themselves. And we had to encourage them and tell them that everything was going to be all right. Make them smile, give them the courage to face another day. And we needed to connect the process of teaching with giving them that courage and motivation to keep learning, to keep being focused on school and on still trying to not to lose hope.
Yeah. And yes, one more problem that was the I think that is observed after this pandemic, that because to continue with the online classes, there were a number of gadgets that were being purchased, and after this, the e-waste has increased in there because number of gadgets were bought, and now those gadgets are being disposed. So we are just in there worried about how the usage of these gadgets is causing health problem for us. But somewhere again, because we are disposing the gadgets which have been used for years, they are of no use to us. So we are disposing these gadgets, and because we are buying more gadgets, so more e-waste is being created over here. So how to deal with this? Because somewhere this e-waste is again going to become a challenge for our health. So how to deal with this problem, which will be created by the e-waste in the future?
So yes, e-waste is a really big problem, especially after the pandemic. People bought lots and lots of devices that they used and probably don't use that much, and they just threw away. We tried to deal with this problem in our school when we took part in a project, and one of the activities of the project um, meant that we organized a recycling activity in our school. We brought different things that we took to the recycling companies, plastic, and of course, e waste. And part of the project was for students to do research and see how harmful e waste is for the environment. There are things that, when they are discarded, they do not harm nature. They just, for example, food waste can turn into compost, and this actually helps nature. But e waste is one of the most dangerous forms of pollution. It can really harm our planet, and the effects last for a very long time. Students did research, and they also created posters to raise awareness about this, about e-waste, and about the dangers of throwing this waste without without caring for the environment. They realized that we only have one planet. There is no planet B, and we each have a role to play. We shouldn't lay this responsibility on the shoulders of the government, on anyone else, on the adults. Okay, let the adults do this. If children are young, it doesn't mean that they do not have a responsibility. Each of us, we are all sharing this planet. It is a home for all of us. So that is why we should all do something to protect it. And the easiest thing is to recycle. It's not rocket science, as they say. It is very easy, and the students should be involved. And no matter how young they are, they need to understand that they can do certain things. Their actions are important, and they need to be encouraged to do their part, to try to do everything in their power to protect Mother Earth. Recycling is easy. Using and reusing is another thing that they can do. Instead of throwing away those gadgets, it's easier to repair them and maybe to give them to someone who cannot afford them. This way, that particular thing is in use for a longer time, and those people don't have to buy a new one. If there is, if they are taught from a young age how to take care of the environment and how to carefully dispose of, how to responsibly dispose of e-waste, and how to lead a sustainable lifestyle, they can become true citizens of tomorrow. They can become responsible people. But it all starts from a young age, and it all depends on each of us. So we all have to join hands and do our part.
Yes, we have to join hands and do our part. And everyone should realize their responsibility. And as we were talking about awareness, that is very necessary because sometimes we say that development, what we say, if you want to go for any kind of development process, that is not possible without process about without awareness. Development is an empty slogan in the absence of awareness. That is being sometimes said, and some very good tips that I like, that instead of just throwing away, we can repair it, we can be giving it to someone who need it, because the children, they think that they have and they can get more because this is of more use for them. So they don't want to use it, they just want to throw it. Instead of, it can be given, because in those days during pandemic, though, like we were talking about online education, but still there were millions who were not able to continue their education because they did not have digital devices. Yeah, ma'am. And like we were talking about education, we know that among the sustainable goals, the SDG 04, it talks about quality education. So, what according to you should be some very important steps that should be taken to achieve SDG 04, quality education by 2030?
Yes. Indeed, sustainable development goals are goals that global goals that we should all take into consideration. We should all try to achieve. And SDG 4 is quality education, ensuring that all students, all children benefit from quality education. But all sustainable development goals are related. They all depend upon one another. We can achieve one without thinking about all the others. So, how can we think about giving a child education if that child is hungry, thirsty, if he's not well dressed, if he's cold, if he lives in very poor conditions? We have to think about all these aspects and take them into consideration. And when we talk about sustainable development goals, we need to see them as one integrated goal to achieve. In order to reach that target, the targets of SDG 4, we need, first of all, to ensure that all students have the right to education. All benefit from the same education, from quality materials, from well-trained teachers, and of course, spaces in which to learn. There are many, many aspects that we need to take into consideration when it comes to education. Teachers need to be well trained in order to offer the best education possible. We need to ensure courses for teachers so that they can adapt their subject to the times, to technology, to everything that we have nowadays. So first of all, we need well prepared teachers so that the students can benefit from their knowledge. We need to ensure that the classrooms are spaces of tolerance, of equality, of empathy, that all students are treated the same and they are offered the same right to education and the same right to learn. We need to teach them about the importance of lifelong learning, that learning never stops and it should never stop, and they should always try to become better with everything they learn. They bring something to their personality, to their development, to the person they will be when they are older. Many students are, for example, not given this right to be in classrooms, and especially girls in some part of the world are denied the right to education. And this should never happen. Every child should be encouraged, should be allowed to attend classes and to become better. If they don't learn, they cannot have the right to a bright future. They will miss a lot of opportunities which are only given by learning, by obtaining proper education and qualification. So, yes, we really need to make sure that all students have the right to free education, the right to be in school, and to show their learning potential.
Yes, everyone should get a chance to show their learning potential, and they should get a chance to learn, in fact. And as was said by you, even the earlier sustainable goals that of zero poverty, zero hunger, and about good health, and then this education, everywhere it is interrelated. We cannot just concentrate on one. We have to work on every one of them. Everyone is interrelated. If we try to develop one or achieve one, the other automatically it gets updated. Automatically we go towards achieving it. And yes, ma'am, now coming back to some of your personal experiences again. In your career, you must have experienced some kind of obstacles, some kind of challenges. So, what kind of challenges did you experience in your career?
Well, the pandemic was a great challenge because I needed to learn from the beginning what it means to be a teacher. So all the experience up to that moment simply vanished because we had to start all over again. To It was like the first day in class, learning how to adapt, how to look for materials that I could no longer give my students. Um, so beginning all over again. This was communicate with the students, how to reach them behind the screens, how to read what was going on in their souls at that moment. It was a really difficult time, and we really had to. I felt like I was walking on thin ice because we needed to be knew what was going through at that moment, what difficult situation. In a class, you can see their expressions. You can sometimes read it on their face what was going to happen next. That teachers really needed to give the students that bit of hope, as I said earlier. And
Yeah.
one more challenge, and I think this is a challenge that all teachers have in their profession, is adapting to um, to the students in a classroom. Some students like there are different kinds of learners, audio, kinesthetic, visual, and we have to adapt to each type of learner. And every time we walk into a classroom and meet a new group of students, that's a new challenge because we have to see how they learn best, to see what attracts them, to see what motivates them to um, do their best in that subject. So each new generation brings a new challenge.
This each new generation brings a challenge, and as you were talking about the challenges that you faced during the pandemic, it was there, and one of them that which really experienced was that uh, how to identify the students like you were speaking about. In the class, it is very easy for us to know if someone is a slow learner or someone is not able to grasp what we are teaching in the class. It is easy, but when we were on the in the online teaching, it was really difficult. And ma'am, like when you started with your career, you just told that you were very much influenced by your parents. So, but besides parents, there must be again someone who must have influenced you, who must have inspired you or motivated you, or someone who must have been your role model. So, who were those persons?
My first role model was my mother, of course. She made me understand the joys of being a teacher. I when I saw when I went to her classrooms and attended some of her lessons, while I was preparing to be a teacher myself, I understood much better what it means to be a teacher. And she was the kindest person ever. She knew how to communicate with students and how to make them like her subject, how to bring and how to also bring out the best in them, to make them use their special skills and abilities, um, and to bring out the creativity in them. Another role model that really marked the way I built my life was my English teacher. She was a bit strict, but she had a wonderful way of teaching, and we were all fascinated by how she made um, even the most difficult lessons seem easy. Um, I was really lucky to have great teachers, and this is why I say that it is important to have good teachers, because good teachers influence what a child will become later in life. A good teacher brings a really positive influence, just like my English teacher. She always encouraged us. She empowered us to want more, to learn more, to want to acquire knowledge, and to become the best version of ourselves. And I am grateful to this day for all the things she has taught us, but not only um, grammar and vocabulary, but she taught us how to be better human beings, how to um, look at life um, through a positive perspective, how to overcome challenges. She was a really great role model. I will always uh, keep her in my heart.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful, ma'am. And ma'am, yes, would you like to share some of your future goals?
Future goals, I think it should be a future goal for everyone to be happy, to stay positive, to have achievements, but not only professionally, but also personally, to have good friends around, and to have a life that leaves something positive behind. I would really like to be involved in projects that help the earth. That way I can give something back to nature, because nature is giving so much to us, and educators can help a lot by involving their students and giving something back to nature. So I would like to have this kind of project to teach students how important it is to take care of Mother Earth and to lead a sustainable and responsible way of life. I would also have as goal to write more books, because I believe it is important to spread knowledge and to make people read, to tell them how important it is to communicate through writing, and um, how to connect with other people through reading.
Thank you very much, ma'am. And I hope you achieve what all you discussed, starting with your next book that you're working on, and also all the future goals. Hope you achieve that. Thank you very much, ma'am, for sharing your
Thank you so
experiences
much.
and also attending our show and accepting the invitation. I once again thank our speaker, Laura ma'am, for interacting with us, sharing all her knowledge with us on Beyond Education series by IDYM. I thank Ravi sir and all the team of IDYM for this wonderful show and for organizing this wonderful show. Thank you very much. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you. I'm grateful. Thank you, IDYM. Thank you, Anjan ma'am.